Welcome to the channel. In this tutorial, we will see how we can download and install Python Visual Studio Code in Windows 10 operating system, and then we will see how we can set up the Visual Studio Code for writing and executing the Python programs. Here, first we will see how we can download and install the Python, and then we will see how we can download and install Visual Studio Code, and then we will set up the Visual Studio Code. If you want to watch a particular section of this video, then the timestamp will be there in the description box. You guys can check that out. Now we will see how we can download and install Python. The first thing that we have to do is we have to open up any browser installed in our PC. I have Microsoft Edge. I'm gonna open it up. And in the URL section, we need to enter python.org, which is the official website of Python. And straight away we can see the downloads option in this website. The latest version as of now is 3.9, and one thing that you have to remember is with the Python version 3.9 you can't use it on Windows 7. So if you have Windows 7, then you can install lower version of Python, or you have to upgrade your operating system. Now here we want to download Python for Windows. Here we can see the Windows option. We're gonna click on that, and it will take us to this page where we can see the Python releases. The latest Python 3 release is Python 3.9.0. And here we can see that for the stable releases, Python 3.9.0, we can see the different files for downloading. For example, we can download the zip files, we can download the executable installer, web-based installer, and other options. And also we can see the files for 32-bit and 64-bit operating system. Here, if you see x86 minus 64, it is for the 64-bit. And if you see x86 only, then it is for the 32-bit operating system. Here I have the 64-bit operating system. So I'm gonna download the Python installation file, that is the executable installer for the 64-bit operating system. If you don't know whether you have 32-bit or 64-bit operating system, then I have a video which explains how you can find out whether you have 32-bit or 64-bit. You can check that out. So here we're gonna click on this Windows x86 64 executable installer. Depending on your operating system, you can download the file. I'm gonna download this one, executable installer. I'm gonna click on that, and the download has begun. So we will wait for this download to finish. Okay, now the download has finished. I'm gonna click on this show in folder option. It will open up the folder where we have saved our download. Mine is in this downloads folder, and you guys can see the file that we have downloaded. Now to install Python, what we have to do is we have to double click on this file. Now one important thing that we have to do here is we have to check this add Python 3.9 to path, this option. What it does is it will add the location where we have installed Python to the path environment variable, so that we can run the Python programs from any folder in this file system. And after that, if your computer has more than one user, then make sure that you install Python for all users. And after that, I'm not gonna make any modifications in here. I'm gonna click on this install now option. And if it asks for the permission, then click on yes. Now the setup will be in progress, and it will install Python in our computer. Okay, now it says setup was successful. We will click on this close, and we will close the folders and the Edge browser that we have opened before. Now if we click on this start button, then you guys can see the Python installed in your computer. For example, you can see the IDLE documentation, etc. I'm gonna click on this IDLE, and here this window will appear, and you just need to type in print, and after that in double quotes type in hello, and after that hit the enter button. And if you get hello back, then it means that you have installed Python properly in your computer. If you remember, while installing the Python, we have checked a checkbox stating that add Python to the path environment variable. We will make sure that that variable has been set properly. So to check that, I'm gonna click on the start button, and I'm gonna search for cmd, and command prompt will appear. I'm gonna open it up, and here we need to type in py space -3 space -- version, and after that hit the enter button. And if you get Python and then whatever the version that you have installed as the message here, then it means that you have done everything right. If you don't get this message and if you see py is an unrecognized command or something, then it means that your path environment variable is not set. So what you can do is you can restart your computer and you can check it again, and then if that doesn't solve your issue, then you can reinstall Python. Now why it is important to set the path environment variable is, if we set that, then we can easily set up the Visual Studio Code for writing and executing the Python programs. Okay, now we have installed Python in our computer. The next thing that we do is we will download and install Visual Studio Code. So we need to open up any browser. I have Microsoft Edge, and here I'm gonna open up Google, and after that here I'm gonna search for Visual Studio Code, and the first link is from code.visualstudio.com. that is the official website. We can open up that website by clicking on the link. And here, we can straight away see the download for Windows option. Since we are browsing from Windows, it will display this option. If you click on this arrow, then you guys can see the download option for Mac and Linux. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this other downloads option, and it will take us to this page where we can see some more download options. For example, in this Windows section, we can see user installer, system installer, and zip. And also we can see the 32-bit, 64-bit, and for the ARM processors. Now here I have the 64-bit operating system, so I'm going to download the system installer for 64-bit computer. So I'm going to click on this 64-bit option in this system installer section. Okay, it will take us to this page where it will talk about how we can get started, and the download will begin automatically. If it doesn't begin automatically, then you can click on the direct link which is shown in here. Okay, now the download has begun. We will wait for this download to finish. Okay, now the download has finished. You're gonna click on this show in folder option, and it will open up the folder where we have saved our download. And to install Visual Studio Code, we need to double click on this file, and the installation will begin. If it asks for permission, then click on yes. It will open up the setup window. Here we will accept the agreement, and then we will click on next, and we will not change the location where it will install the Visual Studio Code. If you want, you can make a note of it, which is C program files and Microsoft VS Code. And then we will click on this next, and we're not going to change anything in here. Then click on next. Here I want a desktop icon, so I'm going to click on this checkbox, and then I want the open with code explorer file context menu, which is nothing but when you right click on a file, you will get this open with code option. And also if you want to have the open with Visual Studio Code option for a folder, then you can check this one also. I don't want that, so I'm not gonna check that. And then I'm gonna register Visual Studio Code as the editor for the supported file types. And after that, we will make sure that add to path is checked. And after that, we will click on next, and we will click on install. And after that, we will click on finish, and it will launch the Visual Studio Code, and it will display the welcome window. Now we will see how we can configure Visual Studio Code for writing and executing the Python programs. Now what we do is we will open up the Visual Studio Code. Now the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to file, and I'm going to save this workspace. Save workspace as, and here I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it as coding, and I'm going to open up this folder. And inside this folder, I'm going to save this workspace. I'm going to say my workspace. You guys can give any name. And then I'm going to click on this save. And after that, I'm going to go to file, and then I'm going to go to add folder to workspace. Now it will open up the folder where we have saved our workspace, which is in this coding folder, which is present in my desktop, if you remember. So here, what I'm going to do is, in this coding folder, I'm going to create another folder. I'm going to call it as Python, and I'm going to select this folder and I'm going to click on add. And now if you click on this Explorer option, the My Workspace that we have created is present, and in this workspace we can see the Python folder. Now I'm going to select this folder, and after that I'm going to click on this new file icon, and it will provide the option to create a new file. And here I'm going to say hello.py. py is the extension for the Python files, and after that file is opened here, hello.py. Now here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write a simple Python program which will just print hello to the screen. So I'm gonna use the print function, and in double quotes I'm gonna write in hello. After that I'm gonna go to file and I'm gonna save this file. And also if you don't want to save it again and again, what you can do is you can go to file and you can click on this auto save option, which will make sure that your file is saved whenever you make any modifications. So you don't have to save it manually again and again. Okay, now this file has been created and it is saved. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to click on this extensions icon, and here we will search for Python. We can see a lot of results for this search, but the first result is Python and it is by Microsoft. So we need to install this extension. So I'm going to click on this here. It will open up this extensions page and it will display all the details. We're going to click on this install button and it will install the extension. So we have to wait for the installation to finish. Okay, now this extension has been installed successfully. Close this Python installation tab. And we're gonna come back to the hello.py, and after that in the bottom it is displaying a message stating that linter pylint is not installed. A linter is a program which highlights the syntactical and stylistic problems in the source code. So here we're gonna click on this install button and it will open up the terminal window and it will install the linter. Okay, now that has been installed successfully, we're gonna close that. Now what I recommend you guys to do is you just close the Visual Studio Code and open it again, because we have made some settings and I have seen many people complaining about things are not working. So we will restart Visual Studio Code, and now it will open the Visual Studio Code with whatever the file that we have opened before. And in the right hand side in the top corner we can see a run button. If I hover on that, it says run Python file in terminal. If we click on that, then it will run the Python file that we have, and here the output of this program is hello, and that is been displayed in here. So this is how we can set up the Visual Studio Code for writing and executing the Python programs. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you don't like it, then hit the dislike button. If you want to say something, then write that in the comment box. For more tutorials like this, do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later in the next video.